won't have magic in this race tonight.
We really won't see any spells of any kind until Marsh Cave, assuming it's needed, which we're all hoping it is.
If you earlier this afternoon, pardon, that was in the tweet since then. The biggest difference you'll notice is that the party, which is a generally very weak party, weak physical attacks, weak AoE, it's that's why the LICH in the Fiend of Earth in the first one ending condition is much sooner, but the journey is going to be pretty perilous with such a weak party.
But white mages are uniquely set up to take out a serviceable spell to as we see X and just X and where to go there as we saw files headed
from earlier. This option has been turned on, and in fact, and it allows the runners to just skip going and head straight to Matoya's cave or Provoca. They are probably because there are 3 chests there, and they could, which is something you wouldn't want to miss.
Yeah. So far, all X-Ice is found in the heal potion at the 2 in the northwest. Bunch of money and a large knife.
And he opts to reset right back to Corneria. There was a knife and some cash, and he's not interested in making the journey back for those.
Yep, the money would be nice early on, but unless you really know what the spells are, you can always come back for it. Oh, this isn't low XP, levels are high, but experience and gold are not something you will be having problems with once you could start killing enemies reliably, by whatever means.
And that is a key point here. Whatever means can be very difficult with a party full of white mages. Fortunately, there was a Harm spell, Harm 2, in the first white magic shop, and that does mean they'll be able to grind at the so-called Peninsula of Power near Provoca, using the Harm 2 to attack the zombies that occasionally encounter the party there.
Yeah, also there's the potential for items which cast second-tier spells to show up, such as the Black Robe or the Mage's Staff. Masamune could pop up, which would be a godsend item for one of those white mages.
Yeah, the Masamune is the most powerful sword in the game by a margin, and has the unique property that can be equipped by anyone. So even white mages all of a sudden become pretty deadly attackers when wielding it. So that's something anyone would love to see in this race like this.
At least early. We saw Fog 2, which is actually pretty helpful at level 2. At this stage of the game, you're more worried about stuff getting in a ton of hits that you can't reliably bring down.
File's now engaging the pirates, so this is a first potential challenge if they end up hitting hard, or otherwise they won't have magic, so it shouldn't be too bad, but he's not got the best of gear either, just wooden mallets to work with.
One of Artea's fake Dannies is down.
I think you'll see Artea do a lot is leave a party member dead so that the others gain that experience. When you're leveling up 3 characters instead of 4, each one gets an extra third. So it might make the difference if he decides to grind 3 white mages the whole time. But it's not clear that that's what he's natural causes.
Yeah, that is something he's known to do, though, is to kill off 1 or 2 party members specifically for the purpose of bringing faster so that he doesn't have to do a grind. Instead, he's prorating the grind over the entire...
Looks like Files is going to prevail over the pirates. He loses one of his mages, but it shouldn't matter. He'll be able to head over to the clinic and get that mage brought back. Meanwhile, lots of experience in all of those characters that survived are now level 4.
You don't have much to fear from the pirates, because but that doesn't mean they can't end up with something to touch or changing like Death Touch.
And we got some dirt cheap tents, which will doubtlessly come in handy during some encounter manipulation on what appears to be a necessary journey to Marsh, unless the TNT is... We got a lazy dwarf scenario where it's in the dwarf cave.
Yeah, Exile's finding out that they're being in a Toyas.
At this point, it's still pretty close between the featured runners. Ice Blue does know for a fact that there's nothing interesting there. Meanwhile, the others who appear ahead will probably have to check that and lose some time when they do. So it's not far behind as you might look.
Sometimes knowledge is better than time, especially when you know you don't have to go somewhere that the opponents may have to. So Edge Figueroa's made his way through the pirates, with everyone alive no less. Looks like Artea is purposely trying to kill off that second white mage.
Come out of here with 2 alive. Artea, just a fan of, all the spells that you don't use. Ruse in this case can only be cast on the caster, but increases their evade tremendously. And you'll now see that the pirates are just whiffing constantly on his last 2 strategy he's using. You think 2 dead, like they're not very good attackers, is even going to survive. He's basically invincible now, and they'll gradually whittle them down.
That's right, and Ruse is basically a caster-only target in Viz 2. It gives the same bonus. It is, strictly speaking, better than regular Garden Variety in Viz, which has about half the bonus. So now Files is off to find nothing in T.
At this point, all we got left is potential for lazy dwarves or a journey into the marsh. Crown. Hunches.
The commentator need to be in either
Fine. The plans, so he could.
Alright. We'll see what he's gonna do.
So far, not a relation between the runners, just a decision whether or not to check the Temple of Fiends first, which may well come out in the wash. We'll see how they do in the Marsh Cave.
Yep, and looks like X-Ice is making a trip up to Peninsula Power, which is pretty smart with Harm 2 charges. He's just got to survive to get there.
And just as I say that, Artea makes a liar of me and heads southeast from Provoca. So instead of going to the Peninsula Power, he's choosing to grind in amongst these foothills here. We'll see if he finds what he's looking for. He's been doing a lot of resetting.
He's probably looking for a Geist group, which is good for experience, but not so over-leveled as the Zombies on the Peninsula Power would be, meaning he has a much better chance of surviving it.
But no Geists are forthcoming, just a single one who he is, in his exasperation, decided to obliterate.
Still gotta see how hard or not it is.
Yeah, it goes down without much of a fight, so I guess he'll stick with the idea, because no matter how many you get, that Harm 2 spell looks like it'll chew through them. Meanwhile, Ice Blue runs into a set of 3, which is more to his liking.
Absolutely.
So the Geist grind here. What level are you aiming for before you decide to head to Marsh Cave? You think it's a good play, or would you have already been on your way?
Considering I don't know what's in Elflin yet, if I'm doing it at the point these runners are, you know you need to be at least level 5, I believe it is, to have a tier of 3rd level magic. You need to be 8 for 4th level. aiming for at least 8.
And their files ran into some zombies, but unfortunately they were intermingled with a troll, and Harm isn't going to do anything to the troll, so he sets out searching. As at this point, it's pretty clear that like it's either undead or bust as far as these mages are concerned.
Mm-hmm. And he finds zombies. Let's see just how bad they are. They hit like a truck, and they have a decent amount of hit points.
At this point, if you'd watched the earlier stream this evening, you're probably wondering if this is in any way the same game that you just saw play before. And it just it shows you how random this game can be, especially with party composition and the different flags, that you can go from something where one person was stuck on pirates with a stronger party for 20 minutes to a party where a seed where 4 white mages dismantled the pirates with no problems, and then they're afraid to even go to the next place. So there's actually quite a bit of variance from one race to the next in FFR, and that's something that I've become quite an affinity for.
So the zombies were able to tank 3 harm 2s and responded with stun touch. Probably not an ideal scenario. I would be going for Geists at this point.
Yeah, and zombies with the troll is an even more dangerous play. The harm 2 isn't going to help you here, so even after you finish the zombies, you got somebody to beat down. This is a bit... And no sooner do I say that, Ice Blue.
Also, just the fact that it's so damn hard to get a encounter to show up that is all zombies and no trolls.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Artea, already knee-deep in Marsh Cave. We'll see if it's on the upper part. There's a few chests here, or if he's got to delve to the deeps, the depths. See what he gets down there in the bottom room.
Ooh, Excise getting it with that stun touch. And
yep, sorry.
It looks like Files actually got through some zombies, so he's reaping the rewards.
Yep, if you get the 4 zombies and if you kill them, it's worth it. Meanwhile, Artea runs into a nasty pack of undead in Marsh Cave.
Even just killing one set of 4 is enough to vault you up to a level where it becomes much easier to pull this grind.
And there it is.
Where was that? Top Marsh?
Top Marsh. Bottom left room, Artea finds the TNT.
Very nice.
There will be presumably no Astos fight yet.
Yeah, this doesn't mean it's completely out of the question. The next thing our runners have to find is either the ruby or the floater, and that can still be crown locked.
And they could be very, very far down through the game, too. There's no guarantees that they're anywhere near the first dungeon or anywhere, quite frankly. As long as the seed is beatable, the randomizer just sees that it's a valid game and turns it loose. So it could be very far along. The floater in particular will have to be somewhere on the bottom continent or in ordeals, because that's just necessary to complete the game. So at the very least, that's probably the upper bound for how far away the next progression item could be.
Whereas the ruby could conceivably be in any chest in the game that's not lower earth. Because in this flag set, you can't just go to Sarda and pick up the rod without doing some work. In this case, you gotta at least kill the vampire, just like in vanilla.
Artea's out of Marsh, and now going to head over and around back to the ship and back to Dwarves to blow the canal and continue on the adventure. Edge Figaro looks like he's going to get the TNT for himself. So you blow the canal, you head over to Melmond. Where do you go from there? Are you heading straight for Earth, or are you going to do some grinding somewhere?
I haven't seen Exit yet. There's exit at level 3, actually, so I would have that. I wouldn't have Fate. So my play to go to Earth would not be advisable. I wouldn't really want to go to Ice either because of Pisco Demons. Wizards. So I might either go to Ordeals, because all the unrunnables there are fully undead, namely Zombies and Zombie Dragons. Or I would take a flyer on the Volcano and that huge cluster of chests there.
Yeah, the Ice Cave is just notoriously deadly, has some nasty unrunnables. Wizards in particular are quite a challenge for white mages. They're tough, they hit like a truck, they're unrunnable. It's just everything you don't want with a white mage, and they're not undead, so you can't harm them either. And with no charges of Fade to be found, they're just the worst. Also, no offensive casting items either.
And only 2 of the casting items are effective against him at all, the Thor Hammer and the Zeus Gauntlets. They resist ice and fire, so the Mage's Staff and the Black Robe are good for, at best, chip damage.
Yeah, all the more reason to avoid Earth, in which they appear, and the Ice Cave. So yeah, I could see the volcano could be a play here, but we're about to find out where Artea chooses to go, as he's now finished his shopping at Elfland and is heading west.
And Edge has escaped with his TNT.
Yeah, a lot of talk in the chat about why they would ever fight Astos. No one's seen him in years. In fact, the kindly old king claims that Astos stole his crown, but since we don't need anything from that kindly old king, I guess we'll never find out.
We don't know that yet. We may need to bring the old king back his crown. And another thing to consider is that the crown can be bait. So now Artea is making his way out of the inner continent.
Yeah, and this is where this seed really starts to get interesting. So far, it's been pretty much on rails. All the runners have made roughly the same moves in roughly the same order. Artea with a slim lead at this point. But now, all of a sudden, you're faced with the paralysis of choice. You can go to Earth. You can go to Volcano. You can go to Ordeals. You could even take a flyer on the Ice Cave if you're especially adventurous. And it's time to see where they make the choices that determine who wins and who loses.
I could see someone taking a risk on early Earth if Fade shows up in Melmond and they have the levels. And curiously, Edge going to Chimera. I wonder if he's restocking. That looks to be it.
And here we've got a route departure, which is before what I said. So, you know, classic curse of the announcer, right? Files has decided to actually spelunk into the Marsh Cave depths. This is one of those classic controversial moves. And if you're making this play in your files, you're thinking in your head, I bet you nobody else is doing this. So if I find something like the floater down here, I've got a huge advantage. And if you find the ruby or, you know, something else like the Massillon, there's a lot. This could be a huge waste of time too. So we'll see.
There are a decent number of chests down in Lower Marsh, though. And some of the chests you can run into are repeats of the ones in Upper.
Yeah, there's a couple that are so-called link chests that if opened elsewhere are now empty, so he'll be avoiding those. There's 3 that are Mystic Key locked, which he will not be able to access, and there is another one that is guarded with a Wizard Trap tile that I don't think he'll be insane enough to step on. So there's really, I think, 5 or so chests here that could, in fact, help him out.
Yeah, even if I pulled the Mazmune here, I wouldn't want to go against those wizards right now. Not without a backup.
No,
like
maybe if you found a Zeus Gauntlet, but even that would be pretty risky.
Yeah, because they're not weak to lightning, they're just not resistant. That is a huge difference when it comes to damage.
So here's Artea heading down to Earth Cave first floor. Looks like
This is a pretty smart play, and there's no unrunnables on the first and second floors. And as for the first floor, the chests are a pretty quick run away from the entrance, often within one encounter.
Artea's picked up on the encounter table having a big gap in it. He's burned off a couple encounters off the top of the table, and now he's here without a fight.
So he finds just throws that aside and decides to head to the bottom right. And there's the floater!
Yes, a bold move. So he did make the theoretically easiest choice, going to the closest cave with the easiest enemies, and it's worked out. So we'll see who else does that, or who else get us to set sail for distant locations and ends up getting punished for it, because we now know that's the item you want, and it's right.
We could very well. This is what he does, though. It's in his head. He knew he had that gap, and he knew there were 5 chests virtually just an exit cast away.
And the big gap in the encounter table to get all the way to the chest without fighting any other fights too. So, there to find the floater. For if anyone else has been keeping up with him, but of what we've got here in front of us, he's definitely in the lead now.
Yep, and all he has to do now is get the canoe, turn in the floater for an airship, get the rod, and he's done. That's it. He drew floors 3 through 5 of the Earth Cave without any. So the wizards could, and he has to go through third.
And we've still seen of any magic casting items, or pardon me, did you say there's Fade?
Fade is the 3rd spell. 5 white magic shop, but it is a little on the expensive side. He is grabbing Absorb right now, which is a waste blue. Absorb part of the big strategy that you employ. Up on that, and have started going out of their way to get silver bracelets and the like, or even gold if the seed requires it.
Yeah, there's a lot of gear that is like sneaky wizards, and it's based on some Dungeons and Dragons lore that are shockingly good, especially the gold.
Yeah.
And the pro rate
Yeah.
too, and anybody can be expensive, but you can find 2 of them in chests. And the pro cape has another 8 absorb. So if you're fully kitted out with that stuff, your wizard becomes the point of the game.
That is true. And those wizards can have absurdly high offensive stats. All the absorb you can get before you even cast is very crucial.
We talk about this being, a race to defeat LICH, but the real challenge here are hunters in the Earth Cave, possibly some others. But honestly, the vampire and the LICH both being undead are actually 2 of the easier things that the white mages have to deal with down there.
And it looks like Files is headed to Basement 2, while X-Ice is about to find his floater.
He'll be happy to see that, and he'll probably also now make the pilgrimage to Crescent Lake, grab the canoe, grab the airship, and tour around, check the sights. I wonder if anybody will go pro ring hunting. Do we know where those are yet?
Well, you can always buy pro rings in Gaia in this flag set. The locations of gear in the shops are not changed.
Excuse me.
He does find a pro cape, though. And he's down here at level 5 with no absorb items other than that lone pro cape. This is going to be very risky.
Yeah, that's a pretty aggressive move. Pro Cape's another one of those sneaky items. It counts as a shield, and it's as good at absorb as all but the very best knight shields. So go figure. But you can't buy it anywhere, and there's only 2 of them to be found in the whole game.
Alright, looks like Artea is checking the Cardia Isles, or Zardia Isles, excuse me. So I know Zar's probably listening.
What do you think his favorite thing to find would be down here? Masamune, or one of those offensive items, perhaps?
An offensive item, or tons of money to kit out his 2 white mages with Fade, because it costs 5,000 a pop. And without it, you are not getting much money in this seed because you aren't killing much.
And when we talk about offensive items, if you're new to Final Fantasy 1 or the Randomizer, those are certain pieces of weapons and armor that can be used as items in battle infinitely to your heart's content that all cast level 2 magic. Some of them can be used to cast buffs on your party, some of them can be used to cast heal, but there's a handful that cast offensive spells, Fire 2, Ice 2, Lit 2, that can be very useful for these white mages.
And Artea finds a gold bracelet, which plays right into his playstyle. And he finds a pro ring, which also helps him.
Pro ring also happens to resist instant death attacks. Now, there's several different kinds of instant death attacks in this game that come in several different elements, and the pro ring protects specifically the ones that are the death element. So there's still others that can get you, but it does help. It's basically the best piece of hand armor in the game.
Oh, definitely. It has the same absorb rating as the Opal Gauntlet, which is the best one a knight can equip. It has that death element resistance, and it also has 1 less weight. If you're using Opal Gauntlets instead of that, you just haven't found your pro rings yet.
Or you're a kid like me 20 years ago that had no idea that the best piece of knight gear could possibly be worse than something you can just buy in the store.
Artea is here, and looks like he's gonna do a quick little grind, possibly to get a couple fade charges. And he finds 4 zombies.
Just what he was looking for. You're saying he's got harm 2, he's got harm 3, and he just said the vampire and Lich are both undead, so what's the importance of Fade? And it's all about those wizard encounters. We have been hyping them up constantly. We're yet to see if they actually are going to encounter any of them, but it's quite likely they will, and that's what you need the Fade for.
Oh my god, the troll, though. The ruby was ruby locked. Well, you wouldn't have been able to get to it without the airship. So, yeah. The floater is going to be what these guys need to get going, which means all of them are going to have to check Earth 1.
Did Ice Blue validate his run? Did he turn around and give it a lazy Titan?
He either exited out or reset. I think he exited.
Heartbreak.
Yeah, very lazy Titan. Can't walk 10 tiles for his food. So now Axice is grabbing Fade on a couple of its mages.
Yeah, that 5,000 price tag is just at that point where it's very tempting to grind the cash to buy it for everybody, and I think you pretty much have to.
And this is another benefit to Artea only running 2 characters. He only has to grind to put it on 2.
And if you're curious why he's got the top one and the third one, you're thinking maybe it doesn't matter, or whatever, those are just who lived and who died. In this game, it matters significantly who's standing and who's fallen, because when enemies target your party, they have a 50% chance of targeting the top character, a 25% chance of targeting the second character, and a 12.5% chance of targeting the last 2 each, respectively. And if they target somebody who's dead, they'll just re-roll and target somebody else. So what that ends up meaning is, because he has 1 at the top and 1 in the third place, the top character is going to get attacked significantly more often, more than half the time. I mean, pardon me, more than 4 out of, I guess it's approximately 4 out of 5, even more. There's a geometric series at work there. But the bottom line is that's the one he stacks all the defensive gear on, and the one further back is going to take a lot less hits.
I'd say on average, the top character will get about 65 to 70% of the hits. Keep in mind this is just fuzzy quick math. So, Edge Figaro is checking Ordeals, which is going to be the wrong play, sadly.
Yeah, we know from the other runners that he's not going to find the floater or the ruby in here, so the best he can probably hope for is maybe some casting items, the Masamune.
So Artea had a rough time and reset out of that group of zombies. He has to get to a pretty decent level to have a non-negligible amount of fade charges. Houses are where houses always are in the vanilla game, which is Elfland. The price becomes the issue, though, because that is randomized. The reason shops are not randomized is to ensure that these white mages always have access to a weapon in Caneria. Artea now picking up Fade on his 2 living mages.
Looks like he's gearing up now for the final dive. Pardon me, he still has the vampire to go and then to get the rod, so his first of 2.
And it looks like he isn't going to have quite enough to pick up the silver bracelet here. Perhaps if he hadn't reset out of that suit of ice armor. That's usually good for a decent sell. He's also keeping the wizard staff, which may or may not be handy.
Where do you think he might use the wizard staff?
Possibly on the wizards.
Certain irony to that.
Well, if it does work, then they're hitting themselves instead of you, even though they resist their own hits.
I guess they do.
What people may not know as a confused enemy does not actually attack themselves. What they do is they cast Fire 1 on themselves.
Yeah, it's a strange quirk of the mechanics, and it doesn't necessarily even say that. It looks like they might be attacking themselves, but it does Fire 1 mechanics for some reason or other.
And since wizards are resistant to fire, that means they will hardly be hitting themselves for anything at all. It doesn't matter if they have max attack or no absorb, you'll still see only about 5 or 6 damage a hit.
Well, you got through the first couple floors without too much challenge. He's on the vampire floor now.
That is true that wizards are technically status immune, but there's always that 3 in 256 chance.
Seems like a pretty outside shot we're going to see that wizard staff used, but if he manages to do something to a wizard with a wizard staff, I think it would all be worthwhile. He's certainly in go mode at this stage, if you're wondering why he's dashing past all those rooms. Most of them do have treasures in them. One of them just has a family of baths. But he's got no time for that. He's going to head right for the vampire.
I think it's still they cast fire, because it would be kind of weird and funny if, say, Quad X got moved to the top of the order and they ended up erasing themselves with a confusion blow.
Yeah, I mean, they're mildly confused and disoriented. They're not completely off their rockers.
Oh boy, Artea has run into...
He's
Sorry.
run into the wizards. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that's what I was going to say.
I was just helping out there.
Looks like the wizards aren't too much trouble, at least. Not when you have Fade.
They'll probably tell us later that he's almost over-prepared.
It is very dry here. So he's confusing this group of wolves, probably to make it easier to run away.
Yeah, white mages have the worst luck, literally, and that makes it so with the fixes employed in Final Fantasy Randomizer, the chances to run actually is correct, or at least it's correct as the original game intended. And that means they have a pretty low chance of actually escaping, so it helps if your enemies are too busy burning themselves to notice.
Mm-hmm. And he can also net some kills this way, which certainly doesn't hurt from the experience standpoint. 1 or 2 Fade charges may be enough to get you down to the vampire, but you certainly are going to want more to get yourself down the Lich.
Edge Figaro now on the money floor of Ordeals. We'll see if there's anything up there.
And Files is still trying to burn his way through Zombies. He started that grind at a pretty low level, to be fair. And Files does have one advantage here, that being he's already killed the vampire, judging by the rod in his inventory.
And he's not the only one. Ice Blue is just about there. Vampire dead.
So this could be extremely tight. This is only to Lich.
Yeah, for all our big talk about Artea doing this right and doing that right, he's yet to kill the vampire, so certainly a slim lead for Ice Blue right now.
Okay, so now Artea is going to burn the vampire as Exercise is on its way back down to finish the job and kill Lich. And it looks like Files is also on the way to do the same thing.
Yeah, a quick trip to the west to go get the rod.
Meantime, Edge Figaro is out of Ordeals and probably trying to figure out, well, where the hell am I supposed to go now?
And Files is also on his second dive, right? With the vampire dead.
It's not like Ordeals was a stupid choice, considering the flag set and what was available at least up to Alphaland.
It's a long trip, though. It's one of those things where Earth Cave is so close, so easy, so tempting, and Ordeals is so far. But there aren't that many chests in the first floor of Earth. I guess there's about 9.
There's 5 chests in the first floor of Earth. But the other thing going for them is you have to visit Earth twice anyway, no matter what.
Yeah, if you can fold that that quick check with a party that's good enough to go down there and kill the vampire, then it's really not much out of your way at all.
And even if you don't have a Fade spell to take out the vampires, you can at least check the first floor and 3 of the chests on the 2nd floor without too much trouble from stuff you can't burn down.
Yeah. Speaking of Fade charges at a premium here for files. He's got down to 0 on that mage, and I think he's got about 1 more on each other one.
Yep, and he's got a long way to go. Curiously, Excise is fading the cockatrices.
Yeah, they're not undead, so if he wants to kill them, that's the way to do it. He gains a level out of it, so there was something in it for him, but there are very few charges to go around for this dive, and you've got to make it last at least until you're clear of the wizards.
And we have a dot done from a non-featured runner. Tristal has finished. In 40:02, he gets 1st place, and we'll see if we can pull him in for an interview.
GG, we'll bring him in for some analysis. Edge Figaro now diving Earth, and he's going to find something that he was really happy to see. It'll probably make him a little sad that he didn't do this before he went to Ordeals, but better late than never.
Yeah, true.
He'll just be glad he didn't turn around and go to Volcano or Ice. And this is where Artea's got a lot of charges and a lot of levels, but maybe he did the thing he hates the most and overgrinded a bit. Ice Blue is very close to Lich himself.
Well, the fact that he had only 2 mages alive meant he had to grind a smidge extra. And we have Tristal, GG. Nice 1st place finish.
And GG, it's a relief.
Double gold for you today. Congratulations, tournament champion and league race winner.
So much trouble with this stage in races past, so this is a huge relief to get through this one and secure the 0 chaos points.
So, we've seen a lot of players dive 1st floor Earth early and find that floater. I'm assuming that's what you did too.
Definitely. It was in the very first treasure room I checked. And then kind of just the rest was a matter of grinding enough to get Fade, using that to deal with the wizards on Earth.
And that was a pretty tough Lich. It took a good beating, but X-Ice Blue comes in 2nd, defeating Lich just now.
Yeah, I had grind on the Peninsula Power where one person survived a 4-Zomble fight and thus got to level 12, 7 to 12 or something like that, which got me Fade access and that kind of...
So, in our upper left screen, we are seeing files run into Stunlock and Cockatrices. I questioned before X-Ice burning a Fade on him, but now I see it as a very smart move.
Yeah, maybe he had noticed before and we didn't, but that explains it right there. He's now on the final floor himself.
GG X-Ice. Nice 2nd.
Thanks.
And you only came in 2 minutes behind Tristal, so that's pretty good.
There was nothing really scary about the seed.
Yeah, it looked to be just the annoyance of trying to grind for enough Fade charges, because wizards are always punishing.
I think Zombles had like 400 HP or something around there.
We saw that. I forget who it was, but they were trying to burn him down early, went through an entire cycle of harm 2s, and still had them all out.
I think that was me.
Yeah, there was a lot of Zomble attempted grinds on the Peninsula Power that turned sour, or there were trolls, or there was God knows what, but they were pretty tough. So it was a a brave play of everybody that tried it.
So we have Will Bloodworth now on the lower left replacing X-Ice Blue, and he is playing with some custom sprites.
He's really stretching the limits of what we're willing to call custom sprites, but yes, I guess that's what they technically are. And Files has defeated Lich as well.
Yep, and sadly he did not win this particular seat, but we'll see if we can get him in anyway.
Looks like Will doing his top floor Earth exploration. If he does the bottom chest, he'll also find the floater, which is what everybody's been looking for.
Alright, so it looks like we won't be getting Files in, and it's actually kind of understandable. Sometimes you can make all the right moves and still end up in 3rd or 4th place. Ooh!
No sooner do we bring in Quicklit than we will be bringing out Quicklit, who has just defeated Lich and finished his run as well.
Mm-hmm. And Artea is also done, netting 4th, which I'm assuming you will not be that happy with.
He won't be happy, but not much he can really complain about this stage. He's already got 0 points for this round, so he can continue his first place defense next week. This is more practice and trying to keep down other people's times. The only way he could have done that would be to have come first, though, and he didn't. So I guess if it's first or bust, it's a bust.
Yeah,
So,
I think this seed is pretty salt-inducing, just from the amount of luck involved, and this is effectively a treasure hunt for Floater or Ruby. So if you guess wrong and get really punished for it, it can feel pretty bad.
Well, Floater was required, so Ruby was in Titan's Cave.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
That's pretty fun.
I checked one set of caves just for extra money, and I ended up finding the Ruby, the Light Axe, and the Dragon Armor, which I sold for like 15k, and I bought 3 Fade charges.
yeah, we saw that Fade was a little on the expensive side, and before that you only had harm spells, so money was not really in high supply.
I mean, you had Harm 2 and Harm 3.
Depending on Harm 3 to kill Lich more than Fade, because I figured I would probably use all my Fade charges on Wizard since I only had 1 caster. And that actually ended up being true. I did run into 2 packs of Wizards using both my Fade charges, but everybody had Harm 3, so really not a big deal to kill Lich.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to what I was thinking.
And I think with most of several of our racers having finished, it's time for a pretty exciting announcement that I'm reiterating. Sarah posted in our Discord, which I encourage anyone who's interested in Final Fantasy Randomizer to join. But it's in regards to the final race coming out of the tournament that just wrapped up earlier tonight. So it was a big secret what's going to be the showcase race after the tournament. And Edgeworth has selflessly donated his cash prize to being the prize for the bonus stream. It's a 4-thief race, and you're saying, why did he donate it? Isn't it just, Tristal's race? No. It is an open challenge race to everyone. We're expecting to get a ton of entrants. It should be a lot of fun. It's basically everybody is welcome to join in. A huge race with 4 thieves and the latest version of the randomizer and all the fun flags and all the shenanigans you can expect. So it should be a wild ride, and $10 cash to the champion. So we look forward to that. That's pretty exciting.
That is definitely going to spice up the bonus race a lot.
Cash, prizes, open to everyone. What more can you ask for?
A pristine copy of Conquer's Bad Fur Day.
If that's worth less than $10, you can buy it with the cash prize.
I think that game is probably in roughly like the $300-$400 range.
Yeah, even just a card of it with none of the goodies is worth over 100 at this point.
I mean, it is Conker's best video game.
You might be able to find a used copy of Final Fantasy 1 in a yard sale for $10.
Yeah, I can just go dig through my mom's garage and find my cartridge. Now, do I feel like digging through the garage? That's a different story.
Now we've brought in Green Cleric, Will Bloodworth, and
And we have Quicklet waiting.
Oh, I'll move him.
GG. So, to answer the question you had in chat, Edge Figaro went Ordeals first and found nothing useful.
I saw people getting salty in the SRL room that other people were finishing first, and I'm like, I'm thinking that there was no reason not to check the first floor of Earth when Fade is in Melmond for a ton of money, so you need money, and you're there.
That is true, and you did have exit at least, so pretty painless to check and zip out if something was there you wanted.
You're literally 40 steps away from it. Why not check the first floor?
yeah, we were guessing in the pre-race sort of banter where you might find it, and it's like when you found the early TNT, you don't have to an early-ish TNT. It's not like it was a massive March dive, no crown quest. You're pretty low level. Like it's close and it's safer than so many other places in massive voyages. It seemed like a lot of people were going to make the choice, and they did.
And Edge Figaro is finished, and we have him in the chat. GG.
GG, everybody. GG.
So, how does it feel to be the first person who finished who made the wrong choice for where to go first?
Oh, pretty normal. Pretty normal. This is about the way I felt most races.
So, why did you gamble on Ordeals instead of checking first floor Earth?
Fade was level 5. I wanted the Zombie Dragon XP for Wizards, and I never ran into Wizards.
Wow, lucky you.
I think I took 3 wizard encounters.
Yeah, we talked about how
That
this
what I
seed
took.
is. It's like it's a race to beat Lich and the Vampire or whatever, but everybody's always talking about the Wizards. Like they're the actual real bosses of this of this seed, this stage.
Yeah, with harm, I figured I could set up. I also didn't have any heal potions, so I could have checked the outer chest, but I run into major problems if I go into a dungeon with no heal potions. I was super lucky to get through Marsh Cave, and generally I was pretty lucky with just how the RNG rolled in my favor. I only had one close call in Ordeals to what, some red goils that almost wiped me.
Well, it's a pretty gutsy call, in any case.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to do if I couldn't walk a TNT out of Marsh Cave. Like that, I had a ton of tents, which feels nice, and 0 heal potions, and no good way of grinding. I tried to set up a little grind on some geese for just some money, and nothing at the beginning of the table was geese. So there went that idea. I'm like, it's round 2. I'm white mages. Oh, let's poke at Marsh and see what we get. And I walked the TNT out, and I was still broke. So what are you gonna do from there?
Alright, we have Sforzando on the upper right, and he is fighting Lich. takes a blizzard to the face, which is very, very nasty.
Yeah, LICH has been no pushover, but everybody who's got there has had the tools so far. Like lots of charges to harm 3, fade, and so on. It's just a matter of blasting away until he's toast.
How did the winners? Did the winners go in with fade, or did they hammer through wizards and such?
I had 2 charges of fade on 3 of my white mages. I was level 13. Second encounter after a power cycle on POP was Zombles.
Yeah, that's what I did.
And I had floater pretty early. I gambled Earth first and found floater.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of people, once they saw Fade was level 5, decided to go to Peninsula Power to get enough of a grind to at least carry 1 charge of it through Earth. GG's for Zonda?
GG. I gave up on my pop grind at 8, so that was my problem.
That can be an issue with ending it early.
This seed seems often to go to, sort of the lucky guesser, if you will. Sometimes the guess is a little maybe easier to make than others. In this case, first floor Earth is a nice, easy spot to check. Are we looking forward to stage 3? Is it time to cast off this white mage business and move on to something a little different?
Yeah, I'm still kind of enjoying it.
Shout out to the guy, a couple people in my chat that told me GG when I killed the pirates with the hammers. I got my revenge. Sweet, sweet revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, these pirates couldn't have had anything nasty other than maybe a bad touch. So I have to wonder if it really counts for revenge.
Oh no, it does. Oh, it does. I beat them to death with hammers. That is more than enough revenge.
It's still pretty satisfying now.
They weren't the same pirates, but they were dressed up the same, they were in the same place, and they were there at the wrong damn time.
All 9 of them were named Billy, and Billy took a beating from a hammer.
I'm sure I've seen a GIF that probably fits, but I won't be linking it in the chat because it's probably too gory. Hell, there's probably a supernatural GIF for it. They have one for everything.
I'm mostly ready for stage 3 just so that Will Bloodworth is going to have to get a different set of sprites, because when not everybody is a white mage, I don't think you can use ASCII characters as your sprites. I hope.
I think his black belt sprite is just a fist.
No, I think he changed it to One Punch, the actual One Punch Man.
Well, yeah, it's like One Punch Man in battle, but like when it's on world map, it's a fist.
And it doesn't move in battle, it just kind of slides.
Well, that's one punch. Green Cleric on the final floor. Just about ready for LICH.
And it looks like these 3 may be the last going.
But he gets trolled.
Yep, just Green Cleric, Alajabrop, and Will left running.
Yeah, if this is the last of the racers to finish up here on stream, that's a fairly tight finish from, the front of the pack to the back. Like, that's a close pack.
Absolutely. At worst, people are going to be coming in the 0.5 chaos point range, and Will doesn't have to worry about that, at least, courtesy of his win a few races ago.
Yeah, we talked about this. You're like, why are you racing a race when you're already... Like, you can't possibly improve your score anymore, and it's all about, practice, repetition. It's easy for me to say as somebody that only races the game casually, but if you want to get good at it, that's the solution. You gotta keep playing it.
Yeah, practice repetition is one thing, and like Artea does, making sure others can't finish first, so you stand alone, or at least close to alone in the standings.
Yeah, well, he can try, but it didn't work for him tonight. He came, like, 3rd or 4th or something, so... I'm quite frankly, as somebody, I work with him on the development of this game all the time. I'm happy to see him not win first. I think everybody's pulling against him at this stage. It's just what it is.
So Green Cleric is done at 58.54, and Will is now done at 59.30. So that just leaves Algebra, who is headed through the third floor.
Pretty amazing, but we're going to come within a couple minutes of the entire pack finishing in under an hour.
No comment, though. Hey, you Will. GG. So this has been a pretty interesting run. I think there was only one forfeit.
How many people are still left?
Just Algebra remains.
Jeez. Another stellar showing from good old Will Bloodworth here. It's either win or second to last place every seed. Doesn't matter.
Well, if you win, it doesn't matter if you come second to last. That's the beauty of the league format.
Well, true. But I'm getting totally hurt on SRL points if they count for anything, which they kind of don't. Still.
Yeah. Fate is normally a cruel mistress with these randomizers, but even more so with the very short goal for this one.
I was pretty prepped for Fade. That was the thing. I was on the Zombol grind. It's just that I kept getting the worst RNG in history every single fight. So it took me about 10 minutes to get 2 fights done. So had I progressed a little bit sooner, I went exactly where the floater was right away. I didn't dink around in ordeals or ice or volcano or anything.
I mean, I guess that's my problem, because it sounds like everybody went to that Earth V1 first, but because I was 8 coming out of the pop grind, I was like, okay, well, if Fade's 5, so be it. But coming out of it at 8, I was like, okay, ordeals, volcano, we had, exit with a good bit of heals.
Right. Yeah, and I always try to prep to 12. It was just that damn hard. Like every time the Zombies had stun lock, they had stun touch, and they took about 6 or so harm 2s to kill. So what I could have done was go get harm 3, which I think was a level 3, or yeah, that's right, and tried that, and I could have had a little bit better go of things, but it was still, I'd get one character killed, like stun locked and killed. I'd be short on spells because I only had 3 casters, then 2, then 1, and then it was just one white mage casting harm 2 against a field of 4 zombies, and that never feels good. So that happened to me. It happened to me like 7 or 8 times, and I got through like a power cycle where I kept getting trolls, and then the fights themselves went poorly. So that was about 10 minutes of my run right there, just digging around with the zombies. But my game plan was sound. It was just the game wasn't letting me do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, these short races, they have like such a, there is such a random factor. It's not just the Final Fantasy randomizer, not just because of the items, but everything can just, and when there's not much time to catch up in a race like this.
No, it's just it's an RNG simulator in a lot of ways. Like I said, I did everything, strategically speaking, I did everything exactly the way one would do it if they knew what they had to do. Which is get to level 12 ASAP, so you have fade charges in the event of wizards, in the event of something else crazy at the end, which is exactly what happened. So level 12 gave me fade charges. I had enough exit charges. I harm 2'd my way through all the ghouls and geists and went exactly where the floater was. And still ended up in like 8th place because I just had the worst ambush luck, the worst fight RNG. You can't fight bad luck. I was the anti-Tristal.
When did you go to Pop? Did you go before you went to Marsh Cave or after you saw Fade at Melmond?
Before the pirate fight. So I was prepping for this type of seed before I even knew it was going to be this type of.
It's probably why you were having so much problem.
Yeah, the problem was that I just I'd have one character dead and I try to 3-man it and it wouldn't go through. And even when I had a 4-man team, a lot of the time I would get 1 or 2 of them stun locked while I was trying to harm 2 my way through them. So it was just turn order RNG, damage RNG. I got a ton of ambushes in fights throughout the entire seed. I want to say more often than not I was ambushed. More than 50% of the time.
And that'll do it for our last runner tonight. So it was a quick race, and I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Should give our runners a follow if you haven't already. Great community here as well. I'd like to thank the fellow commentator Terrellin tonight for helping me out, and our streamer Norestra. Guy's on fire. He's everywhere in Randomania. He's been running multiple streams this evening. In fact, helped us get set up with our schwanky new tracker that allows me to check off when people pick up stuff, so he doesn't have to do that. The Randomania team has been really great to us as a community and helped us get our game out there for more people to enjoy. He's mentioning in the chat that there's a Zelda 1 randomizer chest jerk versus Yocrast race finishing up on Randomizer 1 if you want to check that out. Any final thoughts? Let's pass it around. I'll start with you, Will.
I really it's a coin toss every time I play this game. I'm either going to kick the crap out of it or I'm going to get my crap kicked in by it. And that's just the nature of the game for me. I wish I had more consistency, but I'm still trying.
Quickly?
Looking forward to round 3. Kind of tired of being forced to play 4 white mages.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of people that are ready for round 3, and it starts midnight Monday morning Eastern time. Edge Figaro?
Yeah, I miss chaos. Between this and practicing for pretty black belt, chaos is getting lonely. I need to go say hi.
You can have him.
Jabrab, welcome. GG.
GG. Honestly, I did the right pick, the right choice, decision routing, and after that it was mainly I wasn't confident enough to go to Lich unless I had fate charges. So I grinded especially on shadows and the enemies near Melmond, hoping to get to level 12. So it took me a bit of time. Maybe I should have tried to kill the vampire first time. I didn't. I don't know why. But it is what it is. I made some terrible decision today, but it's fine.
And Norestra, any final thoughts? Or pardon me, Terrellin?
Well, it was a pretty difficult early grind. Geist were not easily available near Provoca. The Zombies took, like everyone was saying, about 6 harm 2s to get down, which was going to give you a very rough time, especially if you're going to try to copy Arte and do short man strats.
Alrighty, and once again, I'd like to repeat the bonus stream announcement. Edgeworth has selflessly donated his $10 winnings to bring a prize to the bonus stream for a thief race. The bonus stream race will be open to everyone. Big 4 from the tournament will still be featured. However, if you play strong and take a late lead, you might make the restream as well. So if you're interested in joining in that, it sounds like it's going to be a real gong show, and I look forward to that race as well. On behalf of Randomania, I'd like to also mention that there is Chester playing Yocrast and Zelda 1 Randomizer right now. They're just finishing up, so you can tune over to Randomizer 1 to check that out. And tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, Super Mario Land 2 Rando and 2 Zelda 1 Randomizer matches on Randomania. I'm happy to share that with you because they treat us so well here. So for everyone in the Final Fantasy Randomizer Community League and at Randomania 2, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. Good night.
Let's say a little bon ton relais. Catch you later, y'all.